First, David, I would like to ask you if you could state your name and let everyone know how you got started and your profession.
David Morgan. I'm a financial newsletter writer. I've been fascinated with money and finance most of my life. I got a degree in engineering, and then I went on, got a master's in finance. And I've been in the field on the internet for over 20 years, and I've been in the resource sector from an early time. Started investing when I was 16 years old, so put all those qualities together, started an internet-based financial newsletter, specializes in natural resources. It's a passion of mine, and I help people build and preserve wealth.
That's good. And since you said you were 16, you were pretty young. Was there anybody you looked up to? Was there a Warren Buffett in your life or any mentors?
Not at that age. Just a general idea that you can participate in a business by investing in the stock market. But as I matured and started reading other financial newsletter writers, general stuff from the encyclopedia and that type of thing, no internet in those days.
Right.
Yes, I started to look at the classics, most of the better known value investing classic books. I veered off into the Austrian school quite early. Mr. von Mises and many of the Hayeks and Rothbards and that type of thing. Great influence on me early on and to this day.
That's good. So if you had to recommend any resources to say, let's say someone listening to this and they're at square one, they're not even at first base, what advice or what would you recommend to them?
I would go to the Mises.org website, MISES.org, and I would either pay for or download What Has the Government Done to Our Money by Murray Rothbard. And I read that before I ever invested a dime in any investment.
Oh, wow. Wow. And can you give that website out again?
It's Mises, MISES.org.
Okay. Now, following up on that, what are some setbacks or maybe some critical mistakes you made early on? Had you gone to the site or had you know what you know now? Anything you had to overcome?
Well, nothing to do with the site, but as far as mistakes, it was myself. Take full responsibility. Being early, young, inexperienced, and greedy, there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the junior resource sector, was often referred to as the penny dreadful or penny stocks, that some of these stocks can go from 14 cents to $1.40 to $14. It's rare, but it does happen. And everyone thinks they're smart enough to find that one. It's going to happen to them. It's a very, very rare event, as I just said. But didn't understand really how difficult it is to speculate effectively. In other words, putting too much money into these very, very, very long shots. But I learned from the School of Hard Knocks. And when I started my financial newsletter, the Morgan Report, I pretty much outlined for everyone's benefit how to approach that side of the market. What we teach is big money in big companies that pay dividends usually, and medium money in mid-tier companies that are already producing with an exploration potential upside. And then we all like to speculate, but we do it effectively, and we do it with a amount of money you can afford to lose. So when I started my report, I had a lot of experience investing for many, many years in that sector, and I was able to pass that knowledge and wisdom on to my readers.
Now, is the Morgan Report, what's different what's the difference from the Morgan Report and some of the other financial and investing newsletters that's out there now?
There's a couple of differences. Number one is it's a specialist newsletter, meaning that I don't do a general market letter, meaning many of your financial newsletters are like the Motley Fool, for example, and they look at all kinds of opportunities in the general stock market. I don't. I look at resources only, which takes in, copper, cobalt, lithium, gold and silver, platinum, uranium. I look at oil somewhat, but not too much. So all the natural resources. So that's one of the main differences. The second difference within that sector, so other people that specialize in the resource sector, is to reiterate what I said earlier, which means that we're looking at really solid companies, blue chip type of things. And I don't want people to spend a lot of time and effort and hard-earned capital into these highly speculative long shots, whereas where most of the sector spends their money or their time. In other words, most other resource-based newsletters are only at the bottom feeders. They're not at the top. So mine is more of a letter that would be appeal to a accredited investor, a fund manager, or a serious investor. However, again, we do get early tips, you might say, on some of these up-and-comers in the resource sector, and some of my peers in the group that specialize more in the low-price stocks than I do call my list blue chips. So that kind of gives you hopefully a feel for, the way I look at the market. It's a little different than some of the others in my sector.
Okay. Now, I would imagine you have is it a yearly subscription model, or what's your pay model?
Yeah, it's both. If you pay by the year, you get a 20% discount. If you want to pay month to month, you can do that as well.
Okay. And finally, what's up next for you? Anything business-wise, anything professionally? What do you have coming up next?
Well, it's the next project. I've been at it, Robert, for some time, but it's a cryptocurrency that's based on gold and silver. So it's ongoing, and I use it as your question, what's next, because we are becoming better known, and we will be hopefully soon on the main platforms that everybody's used to in the crypto space. So once we are adopted by, let's say, some of the mainstream exchanges, I think that the company will be able to grow. So it is a biased comment. I am involved. I got involved from the inception. It was basically an idea that I was told about with some of my team, and we liked the idea, and we've been through a rather rough road, but we're at a place now where we've got a pretty good solid foundation, and we're ready to move to the next level. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, that's some good news. And so if our listeners wanted to stay in touch or, follow you, how can they do that?
It's very easy. Just go to the main webpage, which is themorganreport.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. Do a lot of stuff for free. I'm really big on educating the public and letting them make their own decisions. And once you're on the main page and sign up for the free newsletter, you can pull down the blog tab and look at all the blogs. At the top of the blog page, there are icons for our Twitter feed, our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn presence, and the rest of them. So if you're interested in following on Twitter or YouTube or any other social media platforms, they're available from the blog page.
Okay.